back to another episode of Scotch and Songs. Chair didn't want a chair for a second. We're a day early, but that's okay. Doing St. Patrick's Day tonight. Should be lots of fun. There it is. Pull up the stream on my phone real quick. That way I can keep an eye on chat through here, just in case multi-chat on OBS doesn't want to work. As per usual, got to give Cole a couple of minutes. Hi, Mom. Like I said, we're doing Scotch and Songs St. Patrick's Day edition. I've got a few Irish bands lined up, a couple of Irish folk tunes. One of them is actually not Irish, but that's okay, close enough. And we've actually got 13 songs on tonight's list. As per usual, do the housekeeping real quick. The QR code on the screen is for you guys if you decide that you feel that me, and once he pops in, Cole, deserve a tip. Feel free to scan that. When I do the description, which I have been kind of slacking on doing descriptions, there will be a link if you guys want to help me build the supercomputer. It'll help make these streams a little bit more stable. Might be able to add another camera or two. Might be able to add some video every once in a while. That is the plan anyway. You'd be able to click on that link, help me buy computer parts. Again, none of this is necessary. You don't have to. What I would like is if you were to like, comment, subscribe. All of that helps push us in the algorithm and makes these just that much bigger. We'll get more reach, be able to reach more people, and streams will get more exciting. Okay, Cole just sent me a message, said he'd be here in a minute. Like I said, we are still a day off from the holiday. It's actually tomorrow. So by all means, feel free to get absolutely plastered tomorrow. Don't forget to wear green. And if you don't wear green, don't feel bad. I usually don't either. While we're waiting on Cole, we'll go ahead and play the first song. This would be one of the more famous Irish bands, Dropkick Murphys.
Okay. Okay.
Figure there couldn't have been a better song to start that off with.
Uh, it's it's a fair assessment.
And if we're doing a St. Patrick's Day episode, we have to play that one.
Agreed.
So, Big Brother, do you know why we celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
Because Saint Patrick drove all the snakes from Ireland.
Yes.
Uh, and to this day, there are still no snakes, naturally, in Ireland.
Yep.
Hey, bunch it. And so you know, I'm rather fond of the Guinness Foreign Stout.
I was gonna say, judging by the looks of the head on that, yeah, that's Guinness.
Um, so the Foreign Stout is much richer in flavor, less creamy than the American Guinness Stout or Guinness Extra Stout. Um, it also doesn't cascade the same way you would expect from Guinness Draft or Extra Stout.
Hmm.
It comes out thick and black with a, if you pour it right, creamy head. Um,
Well, the creamy head is kind of a signature to Guinness.
yes, but again, you also have to know how to pour or draft the Guinness.
That's fair.
Otherwise, you either get way too much and the whole thing is just, a tower of foam. Uh, or if you don't do it the right way, you only get flat head across the top.
I don't remember who it was, but somebody that I knew or still know.
And you don't use a spoon.
No. Somebody that I knew or know was actually really fond of the Guinness Nitro.
Huh.
And that one was, I mean, I'm really not a beer guy. I'll stick to my whiskey, but the Nitro wasn't that bad. If I'm not
I'm sure I
mistaken,
ever had the nitro.
if I'm not mistaken, didn't Grandpa like the Guinness?
Uh, you. I'm not gonna say no, but I think I recall having this conversation with Grandpa, and I don't know that he is, into Guinness. Uh, Bex, St. Pauli girl, Heineken, yes.
It was the Heineken, not the Guinness. It was Heineken. I don't know why I was thinking Guinness. No, Grandpa usually had some Heineken in the fridge.
Uh, Bex and St. Pauli girl with the same beer?
Huh,
They're drafted from different parts of the keg.
interesting. So, Evan popped in with a little bit of trivia for us. Guinness was popular during the American Revolution and the War of 1812. I can guess as to why.
Um, right, it doesn't need refrigerated. It actually tastes better when it's not cold, right? So take that, American beers. At a time that didn't have refrigeration, that was important. Also, when was Guinness established?
Ooh. Um.
I'm cheating because I have the bottle in my hand, but
Yeah. No.
since
That's
we're going
that's
back in
fair.
history here,
Um. Hey, Evan. When was Guinness established? Because I can't think of it. Um. While we wait for Evan to reply on that, I can think of another reason why Guinness, in particular, would be popular during the American Revolution and the War of 1812. And it's got nothing to do with Guinness.
nope, sticking it to the man,
Sticking it to the English.
which is also why I have Irish whiskey.
I'm broke for the next couple of days, so I'm drinking Jack Daniels.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
I
asking
know.
me if I'm going to have Irish whiskey, and yet because we always have Irish whiskey, and
That
yet you're
would
over
have
there
been the
with
joke.
Tennessee sipping whiskey.
Let's be honest.
Not
Jack
even half
Daniels
of it is
is
real bourbon.
yeah. It's not. It also does not say anywhere that it is. Evan said 1759.
That is correct. Which means at the time of the American War for Independence, it was a relatively new beer.
Yes. Um, but no, Jack Daniels is not bourbon. I also wouldn't typically consider it to be sipping whiskey because I love me some Jack Daniels. I mean, Old Number 7 has been my go to for a while. But in all honesty, it's rock gut. It really is.
That doesn't even refer to itself as Tennessee sipping whiskey, like right on the label. Old number 7 Tennessee sipping whiskey.
No.
Oh, okay.
Tennessee Sour Mash Whiskey.
Uh,
Distilled and bottled by Jack Daniel Distillery. Where
Lynchburg,
is it?
Tennessee.
Lynchburg.
Yep.
Uh, since we're talking about when something was established, when was the Jack Daniel Distillery established?
Uh, well before Prohibition, because it was one of the few that stayed in operation through Prohibition. Um, like 1830 or something.
Uh, you're only off by about 30 years, round up,
Oh,
say
okay.
40. 1866.
Okay.
So, I mean, not far off.
A generation.
Yeah. Um, famously, isn't Lynchburg in a dry county?
Um, I believe it may be.
So, one of the most famous whiskey distilleries is in a dry county, which tracks because it's Tennessee. While Cole looks that
Yeah.
up, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next song. This one is actually off the soundtrack of a movie. And I don't know if you've seen it. Relatively recent movie. And I'll play the song and I'll let Cole try and guess what the movie is.
Huh. I didn't realize that it was
Go
consolidated.
to reap the corn and live where I was born. I cut a stout blackthorn for to banish ghosts and goblins. A brand new pair of brogues to rattle over the bogs and frighten all the dogs. to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, in the merry month of May, from me home I started, left the girls of tune were nearly broken hearted, saluted father dear, kissed me darling mother, drank a pint of beer, my grief and tears to smother, then off to reap the corn, leave where I was born, cut a stout black thorn to banish ghosts, and Coverlin's brand new pair of brogues, rattling over the bogs and frightened all the dogs, on the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin. What for lolly-da? In Mullingar that night I rested limbs so weary, started by daylight next morning bright and airy, took a drop at the beer to keep me heart from sinking, that's the paddy skewer, whenever he's on for drinking, to hear the lassie smile, laughing all the while, at me curious tale, put such a heart a bubble, and asked me was I hard, wages I required till I was almost tired of the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin. What for lolly-da? In Dublin it's the rave, I thought it such a pity to be so soon deprived of view of that fine city. Then I took a stroll, all among the quality bundle it was stole. In a neat locality something crossed me mind, when I looked behind the bundle could I find upon me stick a woman inquiring for the road. Said me tonic road wasn't much in vogue on the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hop the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin. What for lolly-da? From there I got away, my spirits never failing, landed on the quay just as the ship was sailing. Captain at me roared, said the no money when I jumped aboard a cabin bound for Paddy. Down among the pigs, played some phony wigs, drank some hearty jigs, the water on me bubbling off to Holyhead. Wished myself was dead, or better far instead, on the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hop the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin. What for lolly-da? The boys of Liverpool went me safely landed, called myself a fool, I could no longer stand it, blood began to boil, temper I was losing, poor old Aaron's right, they began abusing her on me, so says I should lay the island by, Galway boys were by, and saw I was a hobbling with the Melbourne, joining in the affray, we quickly cleared the way, on the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hop the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin. What for lolly-da? Hop the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin. What for lolly-da? Hop the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin. What for lolly-da?
So is that one that you had a chance to watch?
No.
Watch it.
Okay.
It is. I mean, it kind of does the From Dusk Till Dawn thing, where it starts out one way and then ends up becoming a vampire movie. But Sinners, being the soundtrack that's off of, is a great movie. So, you were looking up whether or not Lynchburg is in a dry county.
Passage of a state law barring the manufacture of liquor in 1909 effectively shut down the city's distilleries. This is Lynchburg, which is consolidated in Moore County. So Lynchburg and Moore County are one and the same. Although prohibition was repealed at the federal level in 1933, it remained in effect in Tennessee. Lynn Motlow, a state senator and nephew of Jack Daniel, led efforts to repeal the state's prohibition laws. In 1937, the state repealed the law barring the manufacture of alcoholic beverages, and Motlow reopened the Jack Daniel's distillery. So I was wrong here in that, they actually did have to close during. In 1939, the state passed a local option law allowing each county to choose via referendum whether or not to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages. But it does not say whether or not the county itself, whether or not you can actually buy alcohol in Lynchburg.
So I know you
So,
can from the distillery.
right. But I can
However,
also see that being an exception to
I
the.
think that actually is the case where it is a dry county. You cannot buy alcohol there, with the exception of
Oh,
going
shit,
to the
there it is.
distillery.
I found it. Despite the operational distillery, which is a major tourist attraction, Lynchburg's home county of Moore is a dry county. Yes. However, sampling whiskey is permitted on distillery grounds.
Okay.
So, yes, actually, it does say that, and I just missed it. Interesting.
That tracks because it is Tennessee, and Tennessee does weird shit.
Uh, can't buy alcohol before noon on Sunday.
Nope.
24-hour gas stations can sell you beer, with the exception of Sunday between midnight and noon.
So, our gas station, we have to lock the beer cooler at 11. From 11 to 8, we're not allowed to sell beer. Which, I mean, it's a gas station. That's really all we have.
Um, can't drink and drive, but I can buy beer at the gas station.
I got you one better. Can't drink and drive? Drive-through liquor stores are a thing in Colorado.
And elsewhere too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember noticing it until being in Colorado. The two that are in town are both drive-through. I've never actually used the drive-through portion, mainly because I would rather stop and go in. It
Yeah.
also it also feels a little weird getting a bottle of scotch like I would a cheeseburger.
On the go.
Yeah. And a little bit of life advice. Don't live life in a hurry. Life's too short for that. Take the time.
Fair. That's that's an agreeable statement. Um, it's easier to say when you live in a place like, you do. I live on the East Coast where everything is go, go, go all the time.
Yes.
Until you actually get down the shore, right? And even then, it's still a little bit of a rush.
Well, used to be if somebody was to take a trip, the trip wasn't necessarily the destination. It was the journey.
Yeah,
Mom says Kentucky has drive-through liquor stores. It, fair, but last time I was in Kentucky, one, I wouldn't want to admit it, and two, I wasn't paying attention to liquor stores. I was more focused on just getting the fuck out of Kentucky. That was my one.
you know, you, people find out that I grew up in Tennessee. They're like, Tennessee, what brought you up here? And I usually give them the same answer.
Just had to get out of Kentucky.
Yes, that's precisely what I say every time. You grew up in Tennessee. What brought you to Philadelphia or New Jersey? I had to get out of Kentucky.
See, I get people that ask me that.
That's a way to
As
make them think.
I get people that ask me that as well, and I have the same response every time. Well, like most stories, there's a girl involved. Oddly enough, like most stories, it didn't go well. Unlike the song, I cannot hang my hat in Tennessee because that's where my ex is. So I may have to settle for Texas. Or in this case, Colorado. So,
Well, at least you didn't leave your heart in San Francisco, which would be a great segue if we were doing like Tony Bennett night. Anyway,
so this next song is actually not an Irish band. With a name like Gaelic Storm, where do you think they're from, Cole?
definitely Boston.
Actually, that could be the case, but Gaelic would typically be Scotland. Um, the Scottish and the Irish have a very long history of interbreeding.
And also
And
hating each other, but they can bond over the fact that they both hate the English more.
yes. What was it off Braveheart? Um, yeah, I'm the most wanted man on my island, but I'm not on my island. The crazy Irishman is probably the best character in that entire movie.
I mean, he's got a point.
He does. He also has to make sure to have some conversations with the Almighty. You know what? Another thing the Irish and the Scottish happen to have in common.
Uh, there's no way you're gonna segue that into the song title because there's no way they would allow that to happen.
No. However, I can get close enough by saying drinking whiskey.
Yeah, well, uh, but they differ in the kind of whiskey and spelling.
I got a fresh tattoo of a broken heart. You think I learned by now, but I ain't that smart. I got a pocket full of nothing, head full of lukewarm beer. I just wanted to make myself feel good, feel like I've been understood. I was wrong, I've been wrong 3 times this year. I pushed off from shore in this leaky boat with my only friend, a bottle of whiskey in my coat. I was gonna drown my sorrows, discuss my attitude. I laid down on my back, I started to curse, insulted every planet in the universe. Hey Jupiter, if you're listening, I didn't mean to be that rude. Hey la la la, hey la la la, hey la la la, how hard can it be?
So, big brother, have you ever drank so much that you may or may not have hallucinated a cat?
Nope, can't say I have. I've not, not once drank to the point of hallucinating. Nope. Uh, do I not remember a couple of nights? Yeah, sure. Who doesn't not remember a couple of nights? We all remember times where we don't remember the times.
I very rarely end up getting blackout drunk.
Actually, I can't recall having ever uh, solidly been aware that I was hallucinating. Let's say that. I mean, if I saw something that wasn't real and nobody else was there to tell me that what I saw wasn't real, I can't prove to myself that the thing I saw wasn't real. And so therefore I might be unaware that I hallucinated something. Uh
So what you're saying is maybe that cat was real.
Maybe that cat was real. Um you know, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Logic dictates, well, yeah. However, I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Although technically, if you think about it, we all hallucinate everything. Reality is a shared hallucination.
Yeah. And also that big old chunk of anxiety meat in our heads has a tendency of just making shit up sometimes.
Yeah. Um, there's, of course, I can't remember it now, but I had read about a visual trick where like two unrelated objects, our brains will scramble and perceive as something completely unrelated.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, it's uh terrifying how realistic the statement that reality is a shared hallucination actually is. Um, if if we all experience the same thing, that's just sort of reality, right?
Yeah.
Um, I guess so.
You know it's even
uh,
stranger? To the person
what's that?
watching this, you're not actually watching this. This is all in your head. You're making this entire thing up. It's time to wake up. Your family misses you. And Crystal said, Jack hates when we play those kinds of mind games with him. I was not aware that they did that to him. One, it is genetic. Two, it is
Oh,
genetic. So that would have been the Rum Jacks, which I love me some Rum Jacks.
you know what I'm saying? I'm fairly certain I've heard you talk about them a number of times.
Yeah, it. Don't be surprised if there's like 4 or 5 Rum Jack songs on the list because I do enjoy the Rum Jacks. All right, are you familiar with the next band?
Where are we at here? Yes. Yes, and I would have expected to have them on the list as well. Not sure that's the song I expected, but okay.
Oh, it's a great song.
I would say, most of their material probably is.
Well, if you're talking about flogging Molly, chances are this is one of the first 3 songs that you think of. For me, it's the first one that I think of. Um, you got any history on this one? Aside from the fact that they're probably from Boston?
Yes, I believe they are. And um, I think I'm gonna have to verify this. So give me a minute. Uh, I may have seen them.
Are you about
This
are you about to say it? I
seems
think he's about to say it.
like the right time frame. Where we at? Wow. Huh. Well, this is definitely the right one. Oh, okay. No, it wasn't them. All right. Nope, that story can wait.
Oh, I thought he was going to say it.
Nope, that story can wait.
For those of you who are not in the know, he hasn't done it in a while. But when he mentions a particular festival, what is it, Cole?
Coachella?
No, the other one.
This
The one that's in Tennessee. Um,
is where I would love to pull out a different festival that's in Tennessee just to screw with you. But the one in Manchester.
see, he's avoiding saying this particular festival because every time he does, we have to take a drink. Because for the first few episodes, he mentioned it quite a bit. Just go ahead and do
Yeah,
it
well,
once.
the
Go
first
ahead and
few
do it
episodes
once.
we were talking about, different musical experiences, and we played a bunch of bands that I think I had seen over the 4 times that I went there. So like, you know, Go to go to the same festival 4 times, there's a good likelihood you're seeing 100 different bands. Like,
Yeah, but which festival was it?
fine, it
Just
was
say it.
Bonnaroo.
There we go. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It only took 5 minutes for you to say it.
That was not
Anyway,
5 minutes.
anyway, here's Flogging Molly. A lot of Irish songs about war.
Huh. I couldn't imagine why.
Yeah, I guess you could say they have had some troubles with war.
You don't say. Oh.
I've been trying to figure out a way to squeeze that in.
Sing about what you know.
Yeah. For those of you who don't get the joke, the troubles would be Ireland's long-standing fight against the British.
No. The Troubles refers to the Irish Civil War. You might possibly refer to it as a fight against British influence, given the stark contrast between Catholic Ireland and Protestant Northern Ireland, which is the situation that led to the Troubles in the first place.
It's just easier to
Uh,
blame. It's easier to blame the English.
oh, yeah, it's always easier to blame the English. All the English faults anyway.
But no, it was more an Irish Civil War, that long standing, um, and a lot more recent than people consider. Which is where you get the IRA. But it really was more of a, you've got one side that is very heavily Catholic and the other very heavily Protestant. Anything else?
Uh, right. I mean, there are also drastic cultural differences between Northern Ireland and uh, the rest of Ireland.
But we're moving rather
Uh,
quickly through the list, which is why we're doing a Scotch and schooling.
um, Interestingly, I feel like I know the differences, but I can't really explain it. Like, it's just like
Well,
I feel the differences. Um,
fortunately, we're on this side of the pond, so we didn't have to go through it. We're kind of on
this
the
is
outside
true.
looking in. Um, I won't say either side was necessarily wrong. I will say that one side tended to be a bit more terroristic. That might not be a word. It is now.
Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will argue that car bombings are wrong.
And not the fun kind that you get at a bar that claims to be an Irish bar. Um,
Right.
the
Well, I
the
wish I had had proper ingredients for one of those.
I'm glad that I don't. Never been my thing. Uh,
I,
we're we're actually talking about the one with all the, the yelling and the screaming and the exploding vehicles.
and existential horror. Yeah.
Eh, Actually, when was that at its peak? I want to say it wasn't too terribly long ago.
Yeah, like the early 90s,
Early 90s?
as I remember this. How do you think you two wrote so much music?
Fair.
I'm actually a little surprised you didn't have any U2 on here. They are
Um,
also in a band. They are in an Irish band, but they are an Irish band.
yes, and
And
do
they sing about
not
Irish things.
do not misunderstand this. I am not saying that I don't like you two. What I'm saying is I get tired of hearing Bono speak.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't like you too. What I am saying is I don't like you either.
um,
That's my new parody band. You either.
there were about 50,000 casualties, a greater than zero number of those were actually civilians. Um, Only
Yes.
about 3,500 were outright killed. 47,500 were injured. Looking for years.
Yes,
Uh,
because what people forget is that casualty doesn't mean death.
yes. Um, from the late 60s up to 1998.
Yeah.
So we're talking, it only ended like 30 years ago.
But you're also looking at a full generation of civil war.
Yes. And, I mean, according to Wikipedia, there's still sporadic violence. So it may be
Yes.
over, but it's not over. Forgive me, I'm reading.
And this is where it helps to read aloud.
Um no, because this would be a lot to read. I read faster than I speak. I make a lot of jokes about it. I'm actually a great reader. Surprisingly, considering that I do this and on occasion get the opportunity to sing, not a good speaker.
uh, yeah, sometimes those things don't always go together. You
No.
can be a great reader without necessarily being a great speaker or a great thinker. You can be a great thinker but have no means of articulating it. Uh, some people who I generally try not to mention are great at shooting off at the mouth, but apparently have no process behind it and somehow wind up in positions of power, like, like major leadership roles.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny how that happens. It's almost like generational wealth can really get you far in life.
Wouldn't it be nice?
No.
No, no, it would not. I don't want to deal with all that trouble.
No. Um Me and Cole both kind of had to struggle growing up. And you learn things when you have to go through some shit.
You appreciate more what's not handed to you.
Yeah.
Then you have to learn more. You know, to date, I have not been given a small loan of $1 million. Would it help? Sure. It couldn't hurt. Well, it could, actually. But would it help? I'm certain at some point. Uh, you
Well,
know,
I
I've
mean,
also never been loaned a farm, but I did buy a house, and you know what I can do with it? Probably not make $1 million. But can I grow as much
yeah.
of my own produce as I can? You damn right. Do I plan on doing that? You're damn right, I already am.
I was gonna say, aren't you already doing that?
And it's a process through which you learn more than if you just get handed things. Or, you know, uh, it's a choice to learn more about how to make your own food than to just buy it.
If I had the ability at one point in time, at some point in time, I am going to get the ability. I too will have my own little garden. Because, I mean, the ability to go out into the garden and pick your tomatoes so you can make your pasta sauce would actually be kind of
You're pushing
nice.
it way more. Does
Yeah.
it take a lot of effort? Yes. Does it taste way better than a store-bought jar? Absolutely.
I was talking to one of my coworkers and I had to explain to him, yeah, no, I'm I'm an actual cook. I'm a trained cook. Oh, what? So you like make your own food? Yes. I don't just eat out of the microwave. I I do my own steaks. I make my own pasta sauce. Yeah, I like Alfredo sauce. Do you make your own? No, it comes out of a jar. What brand? Uh, Prego, 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 which means thank you for buying our shitty sauce. If you're gonna buy jarred Alfredo sauce, get the Newman's Own. It's a little more expensive, but it does taste better.
uh, I won't disagree. But if you're going to buy jarred pasta sauce, try your local grocery store brand.
And 9 times out of 10, I would say yes.
I'm not saying it's always going to work. There's always that one.
Yeah. We don't have a local grocery store. We have a Walmart. Does that count? No, it does not.
Nope.
No. Because great value is usually either Prego or Ragu.
Uh, buy, buy the smallest brand you can.
Yes.
Try them. And if that doesn't work for you, buy whatever you like.
At the same point in
But
time, Alfredo sauce is actually
not at
extremely
all hard to
easy.
make.
Yeah, it's extremely easy to do from scratch.
Oh, yeah. Butter, garlic, right? You know, you melt your butter, saute in your garlic. Um, yes, in some cases, you may actually make a roux, but depending on how thick you want your sauce. Um, Heavy cream, and specifically heavy cream here. Um, Now, if you don't have the heavy cream and you're using like full fat milk, absolutely make the roux first, right?
Yes.
Oh, that'll help thicken it. If you're just going for the heavy cream, the roux may not necessarily be needed. Uh, Leaving it on heat will thicken the sauce. Um, Nutmeg. Nutmeg is an essential ingredient in making an Alfredo. A crack of black pepper, uh, if it's your liking, a literal pinch of paprika.
You're looking for a white sauce, not a pink sauce.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is there like I mean a dusting.
Yes.
Um, and freshly grated pecorino romano. If you can't find a block of pecorino romano, uh, you might be able to find already grated, and sprinkle that in as you whisk the sauce till it thickens up.
So, Dad, a while back was trying to make a chicken gravy. It turned out it was not a chicken gravy. He accidentally made like an almost perfect Alfredo sauce.
Okay. I'm not sure how you make that drastic a transition.
Um, it very simple. It did not have nutmeg. It did not necessarily have cheese in it, but Alfredo is more of a cream sauce than anything else, and that's
Yeah.
what he made.
Okay.
If he had taken the same idea and added some pecorino or even parmesan, not the powdered stuff that you get out of the green plastic jar, no, actual parmesan, it would have been like perfect Alfredo sauce. We're way off topic, but that's okay. Do you know why Alfredo sauce was invented?
Because not every noodle works with tomato sauce.
No.
Also, Alfredo sauce is much more authentic to Italy than tomato sauces are, despite the fact that tomato sauce is your standard pasta sauce. Why? Because you can make Alfredo in Italy without any new world ingredients.
So there was a Italian chef whose wife was having like acid reflux and could not handle red sauce.
Huh.
So it was very basic, butter and parmesan, hence Alfredo. It was butter and parmesan.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All because his wife couldn't do red sauce. Although it is kind of funny that Alfredo sauce is, I mean, that's, you can actually make that in Italy without discovering the Americas.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomatoes are not natural to Italy.
All of your, classic Italian foods that involve tomatoes. Uh, right. Okay. So the Italic states didn't unify until well after the discovery of the New World. So realistically, it wasn't Italy as we know Italy to be. Um, for actually quite some time. Um, Italy is rather a new concept. It was, however, various different kingdoms, territories, independent city states, uh, for most of its history post Rome, but pre unification. Um, Most notably out of these was the Kingdom of Two Sicilies, but also technically the Holy Roman Empire. The papacy actually had its own state, which has now been reduced to the Vatican. Um, and I don't mean the Holy Roman Empire. I mean like there was actually a papal states
Yes.
after that. Um, and then at times various city states had uh, significant regional influence. Um,
Wasn't Columbus Italian?
yes, and he flew under Spanish flags because uh, his own country wouldn't. Listen, we say he was Italian, but Italy still hadn't unified at the time. Italy didn't unify until like early 1800s.
Yeah. I'm
So, was he Venetian? Was he? Sicilian? Was he, you know, Sardinian? That's
Oh, off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Genovese.
Was that a statement or that actually sounds like it could be correct?
Actually, I think he was Venetian or Genovese. I don't think he was from Kingdom of Two Sicilies or Sardinia, which at the time Italy would have been at least four different territories. St. Patrick's, and we're here discussing Italian history.
Uh, Genoa. So you are correct. Genovese.
He was in fact Genovese,
Yep. Flew under Spanish flags, because nobody in what is now Italy would
would
allow
fund
him.
him.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
wouldn't fund him. And why did he set sail? He was looking for India. Where did he land? The Bahamas.
Actually Hispaniola, so Dominican Republic,
Okay, yeah, no, that's right.
which is why that island is now known as Hispaniola.
Um,
It's literally Little Spain.
did didn't Columbus discover America? No, the Vikings did that. They just didn't tell anybody.
No, no. The Vikings didn't discover America. First Nations peoples discovered the Americas.
Oh,
The Vikings,
this is an argument. Um,
the Vikings were the first Europeans to discover what is now referred to as America. And after roughly a year of trying to settle on Newfoundland, uh, they got their asses kicked by the Mi'kmaq and sent packing their bags back towards Europe.
do you know what one of the theories for that is?
Oh,
The Vikings had milk, and do you know what the Micmac were allergic to? Oddly enough,
right, because they wouldn't have
milk.
had cow's milk.
Yep, that they were lactose intolerant, so they thought that the Vikings were poisoning them. So they got angry.
Oh, wow. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
That wow.
Do you know why Greenland is called Greenland, even though it's kind of a frozen wasteland?
Uh, Loki. I'm blaming Loki because the Vikings were tricksters.
Yes. Um. Actually, no, no. That's actually rather accurate. They didn't want people to settle on Iceland, which is actually rather lush.
Fantastic. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they wanted people to go further and go to Greenland, even though it's a frozen wasteland. Hence why Iceland is green and beautiful, and Greenland is a frozen wasteland.
The Vikings trolling people since 750 AD.
Very much so. You know who some of the first people the Vikings were to raid was? Outside of their immediate
Their own
area?
people. It actually started off Viking-ing.
Yeah.
So the word Viking um, is actually an action, and we refer to the people as Vikings because they were the ones who went around Viking. And it's the action of
It's
pillaging your
more
neighbor.
it's more a
Um,
occupation, but yes.
yes, it's the action occupation. It didn't start off as an occupation. It was just, a prank of going and raiding your neighboring town for their supplies and taking them back to your town, knowing that they're going to come and do the same thing in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Right. So you just hang on to their shit and give it back when they right. And then it got way out of hand and became a lifestyle.
Um,
And
if you
um
believe the highly fictionized show, it was actually Ragnar Lothbrok who took the Vikings to sea properly, not just floating around rivers. And they tended to like, you know, raiding the Irish. So you never know. One summer's day, you might be out at the sea, enjoying the stone beach, and you'd see Viking ships coming your way.
that is how it goes.
You see what I did there? They don't. They
Oh
can't
yeah,
see
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
list, but you
No, no,
see what I did there.
I fully saw that coming.
Because it's been a while. We need to play some more music.
The married in the civic hall, the void and all the rigmarole, the prick of a man we like to call cock-a-doodle dandy. Drank a pint, a truth be told, called the bride a filthy mole. There the party lost control, they rioted till Sunday. Toward the quay they went, smeared all the pavement, torched the halls of Parliament, smashed up all the stores. The nasty invalids, the men, the women, the rusty lids of playing a game of rusty heads to settle up on scores. Our fathers never taught us not to fall into a fist. Our mothers never taught us that we days like this. Now we're screaming at the coppers with a belly full of piss. What a hell of a way to celebrate your
Well, you know what the Irish told the Vikings, right? Keep going. There's a country full of priests.
South, just keep heading south.
Hence, Lindisfarne.
But yeah, all of Britannia and Ire were beset by the Vikings before anybody else. Um, and then Brittany and
France.
Brittany is France.
Really? I would have considered that just the island of Britain.
That's Britannia.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Britannia and Ire and Man, Jersey, Guernsey. Um, but Brittany is the arm of France that sticks out over the Bay of Biscay.
Okay.
It's the opposite end of France from Normandy.
Okay. My European geography is not necessarily fantastic, as you guys can see. um,
Brittany is one of the seven Celtic kingdoms.
that tracks.
Um, then known as Brege, but Brittany now in the, well, at least for English speakers. Um, Give me a minute. I'll look this up.
While he does that, we're actually going to move to the next song. Some more Dropkick Murphys. This one would probably.
Ooh, I have a story to tell too.
Um, this one is probably my favorite Dropkick Murphys song. It's also the longest one on the list tonight.
Um, Actually,
The pictures tell the story. This life had many shades. I'd wake up every morning and before I'd start each day, I'd take a drag from last night's cigarette that smoldered in its tray. Down a little something
From the looks of it, that's one that you like as well.
Uh, it is awfully catchy. Um, it's it's probably one of the top three Dropkick Murphy songs. That Ship It Up to Boston. Um, Obviously, you don't have the third one on the list here. I got to see Dropkick Murphys for the first time. This is the story that I was looking for earlier. Um, at at Bonnaroo 2010. There it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, fuck it.
Um, with Kate, who unfortunately checked out before we got started here because she had an exhausting day. Um,
This does seem like it would be one of her favorite episodes to join in on.
I said the same thing. This would be a great story for her to tell. Um, but yes, we were on the outskirts of the crowd under. Since I looked it up, I can tell you exactly where we were. Under this tent. We were on the outskirts of the crowd, and two or three songs in, Kate's just like, "Fuck it, I'm going in," right? And charges into the crowd, and you know, 2 minutes later, not even 2 minutes later, like 30 seconds later, he's crowd surfing.
You know, aside from an Irish band, what genre would you say that Dropkick Murphys is? Would you say they're kind of a hard rock
Punk.
band?
No, they're punk.
Punk?
It's Irish punk.
Eh, that kind of fits because they're not necessarily just a rock band. They're not quite hard rock either, but they're not far from it.
They are a Boston Irish punk band. I would argue that Flogging Molly is a harder rock band than Dropkick.
No, that fits. Unfortunately, I only have one Flogging Molly song on here.
I mean, you also have the time to correct that.
Yes, I do.
You, realistically, when we were talking about Irish history, you should have pulled up a U2 song just to be like, you know what, to hell with you guys.
Um,
Here's something off Josh.
I
Except for I
I just
you could have put REM on the list.
I could have. Um, there's already 13 songs on the list. Um, and the last one has to be the last one.
Fair. Um,
Um, if we have time before we hit the parting glass, then I can throw another song or two in. Depends on how you're doing for time. So after we get through a fistful of roses, we'll see how we're doing for time.
okay. Um, so the other thing that I had brought up while we're arguing about time, throughout time, uh, the Celtic peoples have not just been confined to the Britannic Isles. As I referenced earlier, Brittany was also one of the Celtic nations. Sorry, there is a gnat. There's a fruit fly flying around my screen. So all this arm waving that I'm doing, it's not me doing weird shit with my arms. It's me trying to shoo off this fly.
I thought you just had like restless arm syndrome or something.
Right.
Wacky inflating tube man.
Oh yeah. Okay. Um, so anyway, the throughout time, the Celtic peoples have actually inhabited most of Europe. Before the rise of the Roman Empire, most people in Europe were actually Celtic. Um, at some point, due to various pressures, they were pushed continually westward across the continent, and this led to the rises of influence in Slavic peoples, Germanic peoples, and eventually the Roman Empire. Um, the classical Celtic nations, generally from north to south, are Alba, Eire, Man, Cymric, uh, Cymri, sorry, Cymric is the language, Carnau, and Bridge. Uh, Also Galicia, um, today Scotland, Ireland, the Isle of Man, Wales, uh, Cornwall, Brittany, and well, still Galicia, part of Spain. Um, though there is uh, evidence of Celtic peoples and still linguistic remnants in northern Italy, Austria, Czech Republic, um, and some other scattered communities,
The
parts of
part of
Portugal.
the part of me that is Irish wants to say, well, that's because we're the best.
Um, Given the migration pattern, the Irish might actually be some of the last, some of the newest Celtic peoples. Um, it's also
Doesn't
worth
matter. We're
noting that
still the best.
of those areas I listed, the only places that still speak a Celtic language um, are Wales.
No, that
Yes,
tracks. That tracks.
uh, Gaelic still exists in both Ireland and Scotland. It's worth noting that these are two different Gaelics. Scots Gaelic and Irish Gaelic are not the same Gaelic, though there is a high level of mutual intelligibility, assuming you can understand a Gaelic speaker.
I was actually watching a video on that not that long ago. Um, but at the same point in time, that's like if you were to go to Britain today or England, um, yeah, American English and British English are not the same.
Nope, not at all.
You would likely, as an American, have a hard time understanding a Brit. Yeah, the words might be the same, but the slang is going to be completely different.
Here's a wild one for you. In a different English speaking country, an American translating for two Brits who can't understand each other.
Actually, no, that tracks too. Which actually also leads to the Irish accent that everyone thinks of is like the over the top, the Lucky Charms Irish accent. Not necessarily a thing. Depending on where you're at in Ireland, the accent is different.
Yes. Well, I mean, there's no one American accent either.
Yes,
Um,
uh, the American
since
continent is also significantly larger than Ireland.
Right, here's a fun one for you. Uh, how much do you know about the Ushkaldi?
Very little, if anything.
Um, how about I refer to them in their exonym, the Basque?
even still, I don't
Okay.
know much,
Um,
if anything.
I now get to predate all of the anything that we've talked about on stream so far. Um, the Basque peoples um, are the only extant uh, linguistic group in Europe that predates the Roman Empire. Basque, Euskara, um, has no known linguistic relative. And this is a language that's spoken on the southern edge of the Bay of Biscay, which is why we call it the Bay of Biscay. It's the Basque People's Bay, right? Um, this is the bay that sits between Spain and France,
Okay.
south of Brittany, north of Galicia, right? The Basques sit at the end of the Pyrenees Mountains against the Atlantic Ocean. Um, most of their territory lies in Spain, a little bit spills over into Aquitaine, France, right? Um, the Basque language, Euskara, um, is uh, interesting. It's different. Um, in explaining all of this, I've lost what my point was. Language, people, history, somehow Irish, old times. Better get me back on track here.
Um, in getting you back on track, I would still be getting us off track. Although it is funny that you mentioned Spain. How familiar are you? Jesus, it's like I've been drinking. With the next band, Celtic Woman.
Uh, I'm not.
That is actually kind of unfortunate. I enjoy them. This is actually something that I picked up from my ex-wife. She loved this group. They do a lot of traditional Irish songs. The version of The Parting Glass is also Celtic Woman. Um, this, however, is Spanish Lady.
As I went down to Dublin City at the hour of 12 at night, who shall I see but a Spanish lady washing her feet by candlelight? First she washed them, then she dried them over the fire of amber coal. In all my life I ne'er did see a maid so sweet about the soul. Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay. Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay. As I came back through Dublin City at the hour of 8:30, who should I spy but a Spanish lady brushing her hair in the broad daylight? First she toasted, then she brushed it, on her lap was a silver
It's a very short song.
It is a very short song.
I almost kind of wish it lasted a little bit longer.
Uh, right. Well, I mean, we'll get more of that fantastic vocal arrangement later.
Uh, yes, because I'm pretty sure I've heard their version of the Parting Glass. Um, and it's again fantastic. We also got a little bit of pan flute in there, or not pan flute, tin whistle.
That sounds, much more accurate.
I don't know why I was thinking pan flute. I probably got cake on my mind. Um, Speaking of tin whistle, I'm kind of stepping things up a little bit. The next song very much features the tin whistle, which is a traditional Irish instrument.
I'm surprised it took us this long. Also, yes, I agree. We need to, you know, pick up the pace here if we're going to do anything close to the list.
Yes. To be honest, there's a couple on here that we probably could skip if we wanted to, but we have to do the Parting Glass.
Oh, right. Well, that's
And I'll get into that before we play the Parting Glass. Um, you know what we need?
uh something we haven't had. We haven't had a good pub song. A
Well,
nice an Irish pub song.
yes.
There's a county map to go with the wall of her. Let's stick in a shinty bowl to break the brack, the crack, and all. Let's call it an Irish pub.
You'll notice that song actually does not have an explicit tag.
No, it doesn't.
Because he's not saying, well, I'll be fucked. He's saying whale, oil, beef, hooked. To get around the use of profanity. If I was to cover that song, I would have an explicit tag.
So anyway, Mom, there's a reason I play bass, and it's because I can't dance.
You know what would help you dance?
Barrels of whiskey. Barrels of whiskey would help me dance. One jar at a time.
Did you just set up the next 2 songs?
Yes, in the same sentence. You're welcome.
Um, we're not ignoring his setup because that was beautiful. I almost did 2. Um, or actually, I almost did 3 because I've already hit 2. O'Reilly's and the Patty Hats. That name is not accidental.
I would hope that most names aren't accidental.
No, that was chosen for a very particular reason, if I am not mistaken, and if you wouldn't mind looking it up while we play the next song.
Hey,
Because if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of like in the West, Hatfields and McCoys. Upon doing my own research, no, that my thoughts on the name was actually incorrect. Um, the O'Reillys was adopted by two members of the band, and the Paddy Hats is actually a word for the typical Irish flat cap.
Okay.
I was way off.
Okay.
Why? What you got?
Uh, Grimset sich aus dem vom Duo übernommenen Namen der O'Reillys und
You're
dem
reading
Wort
it in German.
irischen Schiebermutzen Paddy Hats zusammen, wobei Paddy eine in Irland häufige Kurzform des männlichen Vornamens Patrick ist.
You're reading it in German.
That's because I found the thing in German because they're a German band.
They are an Irish band that formed in Germany.
In Germany, with members from Russland, Spanien, Frankreich, Ungarn, the Netherlands, und der Schweiz. They're from everywhere. And
Yes.
Also, they are no longer active currently.
As of about a month ago, yeah.
20th January 26th.
About a month and a half ago, yeah. Which is unfortunate. Because I actually do like this band. Cole already set up the next song. If you're doing a night of Irish music, you cannot forego this particular song. Some people know it from Metallica. Some people know it from Thin Lizzy. It is actually a traditional Irish song. The version I have is a little closer to the traditional version. It is neither Metallica or Thin Lizzy. It is the High Kings.
As I was going over the Cork and Kerry mountains, I met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced me pistol and then produced me rapier. Said stand and deliver, for you are the bow deceiver, mushering them a dear them a da. Whack fall the daddy-o, whack fall the daddy-o, this was Ian's job.
I took all of his money and it was a pretty penny. I put it in my pocket and I brought it home to Jenny. She sighed and she swore that she never would deceive me. But the devil take the women for they never can be easy. Mushering them a do them a da. Whack fall the daddy-o, whack fall the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I went into my chamber, all for to take a slumber. I dreamt of golden jewels and for sure it was no wonder. For Jenny drew me charges and she filled them up with water. And sent for Captain Farrell to be ready for the slaughter. Mushering them a do them a da. Whack fall the daddy-o, whack fall the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Came a band of footmen and likewise Captain Farrell. So I first produced me pistol, for she stole away me rapier. But I couldn't shoot the water, so a prisoner I was taken.
There's whiskey in that jar.
I got to admit, I like the traditional version much more than the Metallica version.
Agreed.
That is not saying there's something wrong with the Metallica version. I also do enjoy that. I just kind of prefer the original. But Metallica released an album of covers. Actually, I think they may have done two.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That there are two Garage Days albums, right? I would have to look it up.
I would have to look it up. I think that's right.
Um,
Or it's a double disc. Like, I don't know.
it could be a double disc. They're all great covers for all of the shit that I will talk about Metallica. They tend to do a good job. I don't dislike Metallica. I just also enjoy talking shit about them.
Uh, you know who has a great album full of covers?
Who's that?
Johnny Cash.
Yes. One of those covers is actually so good that the original artist said, "Yeah, no, that's his song now."
Yeah.
That particular song was also one of the first ones that I learned on guitar.
Uh, which version though? The Johnny Cash version or the original artist?
The Johnny Cash version, before I realized
Yeah.
it was a cover.
Really?
Yes. It's not
Um,
it's not one of Nine Inch Nails' more known songs. A lot of people didn't realize that it was a Nine Inch Nails song.
oh, okay. Um, okay.
Even having listened to both versions, I like Trent Reznor. His version of Hurt is just kind of overly whiny. Johnny Cash,
They
uh, it's also kind
feel
of
different.
very.
They feel very different. And there's a big difference in how that song feels um, when uh, you know, you just hear it, uh, and how it hits when you've known people and lost people to the
I
struggles the song talks about.
I get the feeling that is actually the crux of the difference between the two. The Johnny Cash version very much feels like someone has reached the end of their life, whereas the original, the Nine Inch Nails version, sounds like someone is about to end their life.
Um, and see, to me, the Nine Inch Nails version is the one who's still struggling.
Well, yes.
Uh, there's there's still a choice in the Nine Inch Nails version.
Whereas in the Johnny Cash version, it's already done. Neither one, if you actually listen to it, is a very easy song to listen to. That is not to say both songs are not great. I, again, prefer the Johnny
Good
Cash
art
version.
is not easy art.
That is also very true.
And that is both for the audience and the artist. Good
Yes.
art is not easy art.
Yes. I don't have a segue to the next song. Anyway, here's our last rum. I had to make sure I wasn't a liar. Here's our last Rum Jack song.
But why is the Rum Jacks gone?
One last song.
One parting song.
So, um, there are a couple of songs that a lot of people don't realize the meaning to. Um, for instance, Amazing Grace kind of supposed to be the last song you don't hear.
Well, I think that part's kind of well known. Last song you don't hear. Yeah.
The parting glass, however, is meant to be the breaking of a fellowship. Hence why it has to be last tonight. We will see you guys next week. However, we raise one last glass for this week. Hold on, don't do it yet.
Which one?
Yes. We'll do that after listening to The Parting Glass.
Of all the money I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm I have ever done, alas, it was to none but me.
Their vocal arrangement really is something else, isn't
Isn't
it? And so with that, we'll call an end to this week's Scotch and Songs. Unfortunately, we do have a memorial episode to do next week, and the week after that is number 52.
Wow. Hold up. Isn't the week after that also my birthday?
Well, then, you get a birthday present.
Hooray!
52 weeks of Scotch and Songs. That is something else, isn't it?
And then a wonderful thing happened. Why not?
um, anything else to add?
No. Oh, I think I'm good.
I know we went a little bit over time, but we got talking about history and
losing track talking about history.
and then we talked about how we lost track a little bit. Well, the parting glass. Tomorrow being St. Patrick's Day, I will say, be safe, everyone. Be responsible. Just because everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day does not mean drink and drive.
Yeah, not a good idea.
No.
Terrible idea.
Quite possibly one of the worst ideas. Many people have told me it's a terrible idea. See, Cole sees what I did there, even though I didn't do the voice.
Not as bad as starting wars, but pretty bad. Gotta tell you.
We'll catch you guys next week.